What is up, everybody? Welcome to another video. Now, there's a reason I'm doing this. I like Cachyos. I love its kernel. I love the way that it does things. I love its settings. I love all of that. What you need to understand is that I don't like fish. I don't like some of the things that come pre-installed. I don't like the fact that it's not using normal GNOME from the Arch repos or normal KDE from the Arch repos. That tends to come with a few issues that, well, has affected me personally, and I have sort of moved back to just normal vanilla Arch with my own little things done to it, and it's been perfect. And that's really great, because having something that works for you like that is always going to be a really good thing. So what we're going to do today is we're going to set that up. I'm going to do it all in boxes to make it really easy so you guys can know what to do in boxes and test this out for yourselves personally and get all of that going. Technically, we could jump into Fedora 41 and we could do it there inside of, you know, another VR program, another VM program, but I'd rather just do it in boxes. So first off, if you're going to be doing this on actual hardware, which this is intended for and can be done on very easily, you're first going to need the ISO to download it. Now, Boxes provides an automatic VM. It's all set up, it's ready to go, but these are my, what do you call them? Mirrors, if you will. Zenith is the fastest at 120 megabytes a second, and it basically, this one right here is the slowest, which is hilarious. But, you know, wherever you're from, you can literally just right-click and open and see how long it takes to load to tell if it's fast or not. It might be faster where you are. This is China, of course. But that, for me, pretty much means it's not going to download that quickly. Yeah, see? I mean, I'm surprised that it's getting a little quicker as it goes on, but again, it depends on where you are and what you're doing. Now, there's this program that is called ventoy. I already have it installed, and you can install it on Windows. You can install it on Mac OS. I think Mac OS. I don't know if they have a Mac OS version or not, but pretty much you select a disk. Mine is a 256 gig disk. For the sake of this video, I'm going to be converting this SSD, which I have hooked up to USB, to a ventoy disk. So what you want to do is turn off secure boot. Partition style is GPT, and you're going to hit install and hit OK, and it's going to wipe it for you. It's going to set everything up, and just like that, you're ready to go. It's that easy to use this, all right? And this way, you can literally take the ISO like this, and you can drag it on. Is it in this one? No, it's probably not going to actually show me the one that I need to use. There's my on-RAID drive. That's a whole nother thing, on-RAID. We're not going there today. But pretty much, let's go mount this thing real quick. So I believe it was this one. And I like how it didn't do it at all. That's freaking hilarious. Okay, fine. You're going to do this. We're going to hit update, and we're going to hit OK. I don't know. Maybe it's because I already have. I don't know. It did it that time. Look. Yeah, so there's nothing here in the top one. I guess it just needed to do it twice. So pretty much I just drag the ISO in here, and that's it. And you just boot this device from your main BIOS, and you're booting the Arch ISO. Now, because this is an SSD, it's not really going to be that fast. Not compared to anything else, because it's using USB 3, not USB 3.2 Gen 2 like this one does. So my actual USB is way faster. It can read and write up to a gig. So now that we have that going, this is where we are. I'm going to give this thing 16 gigs of RAM, and I don't know how much storage we have left, so we're going to check. We have a whopping total of 200 and some gigs free, so I'm going to do 100 gigs for my storage limit, which is fine, and I'm going to hit create. If this doesn't boot, I'll boot instantly into Arch Linux and figure it out, or into Fedora and do it that way. Weird. What's the error? it just fails. It's shutting down. That makes no sense. Dynamic states off, yada yada yada. Yeah. Yes, sure. Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't want to do it at all, which is annoying. But it is what it is. Wow, so it was using that one, was it? We're going to select the image. We're going to go download. That should hopefully start it up. And it does. Great. Now I'm just hoping that it actually boots up, which it does. We're going to select this one. And the next part's going to take place entirely inside of the live environment, which I need to set up right now. So now that we're all booted up, what we need to do first, and by the way, I've completely cropped this, so it should be good for you guys, is we're going to have to set the mirrors. So we're going to type out reflector, sort, then we're going to type rate, then we're going to do latest. Well, actually, we're going to do latest like this, and then we're going to type 20, so that way you have 20 mirrors to choose from. Proto, I can't spell right now. This happens to everybody. Protocol is HTTPS, and we're going to type save, then we're going to do etc pacman.d mirror list. We're going to hit enter. So this is going to sort everything by rate, by the latest 20, protocol using HTTPS, and it's going to save it to pretty much the mirror list, so you have the fastest speeds possible available to you. Now what we can also do in any event or any case is set the mirrors so that we can download more than one item at once, and I'm going to show you how to do that as well. For the VM, we're just going to do 5, and that should hopefully handle everything and make everything go really quick. Alright, so now that it's done, we're going to hit clear. Can I actually, can't make that bigger. Can I make it bigger this way? No. So what we're going to do is we're going to just type arch install. Okay. Now we could do this by hand if we wanted to. I have a guide for that somewhere which I could follow. But this way is a lot easier for new users, and this is for the people who are new, beginners, that want to learn as much as they can about installing their OS, setting it up, and really getting into things. Because, I mean, most days people are learning from videos instead of reading the Arch Wiki, and I completely understand. I've never once read the Arch Wiki to install Arch Linux. I didn't. I found the guide from a guy who was the least boring person imaginable, and he taught me everything that I needed to know. And this was before something like this really existed. Okay? So here it is. Let's just do this. Yes. So partitioning is a weird one. I'm doing a partition scheme in a way that is not for dual booting, because I don't recommend that you put Windows and Linux on the same drive ever, because that can have its own issues. And, well, NVMEs and SSDs are so affordable these days that there's not really another reason not to have a blank drive for testing in your system. You can find SSDs and NVMEs as low as $30, and they will work perfectly fine for what you need to do. So we're going to hit enter on partitioning. I'm going to use best effort default partition layout, because this one works best for me. And I'm going to select the virtual block device, which is our 107 gig partition. I'm going to use Btrfs, and yes, I'm going to use sub volumes and use compression as well. And that's it. I don't need to do anything else. Disk encryption is completely up to you. I don't know how to do it. I'm not running through it. Again, it's completely up to you. Bootloader wise, I'm going with grub. You can use systemd boot just fine, but you know, stick to your base kernel if you're going to do that, unless you have something installed that automatically updates the config every time you have what needs to be done. Okay. Hostname, I'm sticking with Arch Linux. Root password, enter what you want. For this is your user. I'm just going to put Matt. I'm going to enter my password. I'm going to enter it again. And yes, for sudo user. Confirm and exit. For your profile, we could do anything you really want. It comes with most, if not all, desktop environments, which is really, really nice. And for this one, we're going to be choosing GNOME because I don't do KDE. It's just too buggy, and you can argue till the cows come home about that, but it's a fact. GNOME has been the most stable experience for me. If you're a fan of Hyperland, choose Hyperland. If you want to use Enlightenment, go ahead. Deepen, feel free. Qfish, that's you. Cinnamon, really, go ahead. Any desktop environment this will work with. As far as customization goes, I'll be concentrating it all on GNOME. So I'm going to hit this. And as for this, you can literally just leave it open source. Okay? You can. And the reason I'm doing this is because we're going to be installing the graphics drivers a different way. One that is a lot more stable and one that will last you a lot longer. This is meant to be as maintenance free as possible after the installation. For the greeter, I'm going to go with SSDM because GDM tends to screw around with Wayland and I don't want that to happen to you. So out of the box, SSDM, okay? Next, audio, Pipewire. Kernel, default Linux package. For this, SASSC, and we're gonna add Git. You can also add Discord if you're grabbing any information from Discord, just like this, but I'm not gonna add that. And other than this, I'm gonna add Flatpak. It's gonna verify the existing packages, and once it's done, you're good to go. Now, network configuration. Use Network Manager. Out of the box, easy, simple to use. For this, just hit / and type where your time zone is. Official repositories, we're going to want multilib. Do not enable testing. Do not enable testing. Do not enable testing. Great. Now that we've covered that, do not enable testing. We had a guy last night. During the install of Arch Linux, Zach's a great guy, get called out. But during the installation, he selected testing and it completely borked his system. So Zach, this guide is technically for you for a reinstall and a lot of other people as well. Next, we're going to just hit install, and I forgot to set parallel downloads, so it's only going to be downloading one thing at a time. But because you set the mirrors, it should zoom through. Just like that. Look at that. Ooh, it's going. It's going. And I'll meet you near the end. All right? Don't worry. Nothing bad is going to happen during this installation, or at least I better hope not. Even if it does, as long as it configures grub and everything else, I could pretty much help you repair the system. I'm kind of hoping it screws up, but I don't want it to at the same time. And the installation is done. Super easy, super simple. And now we just need a reboot. But I want to say one thing. This song is absolutely epic. Heavy is the Crown by Linkin Park. My God, this album is turning out to be just amazing in every single way. Wow. Anyway, moving on, and in other words, forward. We're just going to hit no, because we don't really need to do anything. And we're going to end up typing reboot. Now, this is going to reboot you for your first time into your desktop environment or into the SSDM display manager. And I love Tino Core. These people are amazing. Now, I might have to adjust this to look a little bit different. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm trying to keep it cropped perfectly so that we're good to go. You're going to want to use Wayland. That might scare some people. There's a lot of people out there that are throwing misconceptions and misinformation around about Wayland. It is perfectly stable on NVIDIA. It's stable on Intel. It's stable on AMD. You have no reason not to do it, as most apps, if not all apps, are updated and ready to go. Protocols have been updated. HDR is in works for GNOME to be almost amazing and on par with everything else. Things are moving forward, and a lot of people are still being snarky and looking unintelligent as always because they just don't know what's going on in the Linux world. I make it partially my job to do so, and I hope you appreciate that because, well, sometimes it can get a little bit difficult. Now, screen lock is disabled because we're not using GDM. That's fine. But let's make the resolution a little bit bigger so we can actually see what's going on, okay? Now, because I'm working inside of a VM, again, I want automatic resolution scaling. Why'd I just open System Monitor? Oh, System Monitor actually scaled pretty well. Where is the console at? There it is. I need to do sudo pacman-s, and I need to install. No, it's not going to let me do the thing, is it? No. I need to figure out the name real quick for it. It's called Spice and VD Agent. And there we go. System CTL enable. You don't have to do this if you're running on real hardware. I just want to make sure you guys have the best view of everything possible. Spice. VD. Agent. No, it doesn't exist. I gotta figure out how to enable this thing. See, it's one of those times where you have to put the D at the end, and then you're good to go. And then we can technically go and start it. There we go. I'm gonna reboot, and we'll be back after these messages. There's no messages, I'm kidding. We're just gonna reboot. Yeah, we're gonna do a thing. I am gonna go to properties on the filters and turn off the cropping. Those who don't know, it can be very, very big. So let's type this in. And bam, we are fully scaled. Isn't that cool? And now we have the tiniest mouse in all of existence. Thanks. Alright, it seems to have fixed itself just a little bit. It's going to be a little laggy from here on in, but it should be just fine nonetheless. So let's get started, shall we? So open up your browser, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be dealing with the repos that I end up using, Cachyos kernel and the chaotic AUR. At this point, if you don't want to use the built-in console terminal, you don't have to. I'm not going to. I honestly refuse to use that thing at all costs because it's extremely buggy. I am going to center this the best that I can according to the clock. That way in post-edit I am able to be all zoomed in ready to go. I'm also going to go to preferences and put on a color that I enjoy because to be able to read this, sometimes I need to change some things. I hope you guys understand. And there, that's fine with me right there, okay? Once again, we're going to center it. Now, for the Cachyos repos, it's simple. wget https, is that a colon / mirror.cat? It's right there. You just got to type this out. It's not going to change anytime soon. And when we hit enter, it's going to download everything needed, okay? Next, we need to extract everything from that file. And once we do that, I know I keep clearing everything, and there's a reason for that. It's just because there's not a lot of space on there. Next, we're going to enter this command, and this is, of course, going to ask for a password. And once it's done configuring all the mirrors, putting them in place, it's going to ask us to install this. Then it's going to refresh the mirrors and everything. They're going to be on top, and we're going to hit no. Actually, we're going to hit yes, and then we're going to hit no. We don't want to update our system this fully. There's no point to it whatsoever. We're going to do sudo pacman-s yay. Grabbing yay will allow us to do a lot of things. We're going to hit clear. We're going to do yay pacman. Okay, we're going to choose the Cachyos pacman. All right, because we are using the repos, so not doing it will lead to a few inconsistencies. And next we're going to install the chaotic AUR. Now, this is for the OBS. You don't have to do this if you're not doing the OBS type thing, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type su. I'm going to enter our password. I'm going to hit clear. And I'm going to enter an all-in-one command. And I'm going to explain this the best that I can. So pacman key is the keys that it uses to authenticate the repos. Then it's going to do a signing of a key. It's basically going to install the mirrors. And the mirror, there's going to install the key ring and then the mirror list. Now we're doing su, so we can basically do this all at once without having to enter sudo for each and every command. It's really good. Back in the day, we used to have issues with that. I'm gonna hit clear. We're gonna do sudo pacman-s gedit. Now we're using gedit because not everybody knows how to use nano. So sudo gedit /etc/pacman.conf. Okay, hitting tab will autocomplete, but I'm really getting tired of the fact that there's sound notifications for every time I hit tab. It bugs me. I'm gonna go disable that right now. See, it's like fish. It's unwanted. Okay, so this is pretty simple in here. Oh, flashbang warning. A little too late for that, I guess, but yeah. Did I do this well enough that it's going to let me select any of my themes? It's not. So we're going to be dealing with blinding light. And it's not letting me zoom in again. It tends to do this for some reason every single time when I'm messing around with. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Okay. So you see these repos right here? We're going to just take these. I like how core testing is at the top now. We're going to hit cut, clean up the space. Okay, we're going to go down here. We're going to erase all of this. And then we're going to paste the repos down there instead. And here at the bottom, we're also going to be adding the chaotic AUR. Just like that. We're going to hit Control S and Control Q, which exits it. Okay. Ignore all these warning messages. They're just things that could be installed that we don't need installed. So we're going to do sudo pacman-s y, which will refresh all the repos. And there we go. We have the chaotic UR. We have the Cachyos repos where they're supposed to be. And next we're going to do sudo pacman-s Cachyos kernel manager. Okay. Now there are more things that we can add to this to just get them right out of the way first. We could turn this in one giant command, but this is supposed to be something meant for learning. And most people forget that when they watch my videos. They're like, you could have done this, this, and this, and this. That's not teaching. That's giving people the easy way out. That's not something I want to do. I don't want to give you the easy way out. I want to have you learn something, remember it, so that later down the road, you're confident enough in knowing what to do. Okay? That's why I do these things. Now, this is the kernel manager. This allows you to handle everything kernel-wise. And as you can see, there's a ton of them. Which one you should choose? The default one is cool, which is, I believe, oh, not that one. Sorry, I was looking at something. You could choose the boar kernel. Okay. You can choose the normal Cachyos kernel. I personally end up using this one for emulation because it gets me the most stable experience. So it's really up to you. Most people will probably end up choosing the boar kernel, but for now, I'm going to end up installing the boar kernel. No, I'm kidding. We're actually going to go and install the regular kernel. We're going to leave the stock Arch kernel as backup. So please remember that. No terminal is installed. Yeah, that that just, I'm gonna have to add this kernel, this one here to that. So you can install again whatever kernel, whatever console you want, and I'm gonna just install terminal, or is it called Gnome-terminal? It recognizes the Gnome-terminal, which is nice. And done, because we're on Gnome, right? So we may as well use it. Anyway, I'm gonna just like minimize that. You can minimize things by holding the Windows key, H button. Execute. Password. And yes. And I'll show you how to install the NVIDIA drivers here in a second with this. But yeah, there you go. So what this did is installed everything required to get this kernel up and running. And it's now building modules for everything, all your hardware and stuff. Just let this finish and do its thing, and you should be good to go. It shouldn't take any time at all. Once it's done, we're going to hit exit. We're going to close this down, and we're once again going to open up this. So type CD. That brings us back. So what I'm about to teach you is pretty cool, okay? And that is to handle NVIDIA drivers through Cachyos instead of through Arch itself. This is important. Now, we installed the regular Cachyos kernel. So what we're going to do is sudo pacman-s linux Cachyos headers. Now, we probably already have the headers, but we're adding it there anyway. Once again, Linux, Cachyos NVidia, open. This is the open module drivers. You're going to want these. NVIDIA, utils, lib32, NVIDIA. I spelled that right. I did. Good. Utils. And then NVIDIA settings. For AMD, you don't have to do anything. You already have your drivers up running. You're good to go. So this should be everything needed to run the NVIDIA stuff. Now, these kernel modules right here, that's what they are. They allow you an out-of-box experience when it comes to NVIDIA, okay? No joke, not even fibbing. And every time a new kernel comes out, these drivers and these modules will get updated so you have an out-of-box experience, okay? So it's going to install a whole bunch of stuff that's needed, including EGL GBM and EGL Wayland. And there's the utils, the driver versions 560.35.03, which I highly recommend. So we're going to hit yes. It's going to install everything as quick as you make it because, again, we used Reflector to maximize our speed when it comes to downloading. Now we're going to rerun that again to make sure that we get the best speeds with these new repos because that's also super important. Okay? Now just let this finish. It's going to take a couple seconds. And once again, it's going to rebuild modules. On real hardware, it will automatically rebuild modules. But we did have the headers, which is nice. So it's going to initiate. It's going to build the modules. We're basically going to be ready to go from here. And that's going to be awesome. So just give it a minute. And once it's finished, we'll be right back. Alright, so that finished. We're going to grab a program called... Actually, we're not. We're going to run Reflector. 1 second. Reflector sort rate latest 20 protocol HTTPS save to etsy/pacman.d/mirrorlist. Reflector is not currently installed. So, sudo pacman-s. I think we're gonna need. We should just install it for everything we need. Reflector. Yeah, there we go. So we're gonna let this run. So we want to optimize our download speed to the best of its ability to speed things up. Even I mess up sometimes. So we're going to do sudo instead. I can't believe I forgot that. We all make mistakes. Alright, so now that that's done, we're going to hit clear. And now we're going to grab something from the A. I'm just trying to remember what it is. I remember. Okay, so it's Update-grub. And we're going to grab 2 from the chaotic AUR. And then we're going to hit clear, sudo update-grub. And once that's done, that means we can reboot and use the Cachyos kernel. And we're halfway there. And the next thing is sudo pacman-s Cachyos settings. Install that. This is your optimizations. So it does a lot of stuff to really help you out here. The next thing we're going to do is extension manager. That's coming from the Cachyos repo as well. So that allows us to customize Gnome and everything else. So you want to know the cool part? We're almost done. And we're going to go and install fastfetch. Because you want to show it off, right? It's Arch, by the way. So fastfetch. Here's where we are so far. Now, if I ended up rebooting, we would pretty much have the newest kernel that we did install, and we'd be ready to go. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to reboot, and then we're going to do fastfetch again. All right. We're back. And if we go, we open up terminal. And we do fastfetch again. Zoom, zoom, zoom. We zoom in. You'll notice that we are on Cachyos kernel. And things... Actually, there's no animations, but they do feel a little bit more snappy, which is nice. So, what else do we do from here? Well, it's pretty simple. You get to customize Gnome the way that you want it to. I am going to do a video after this about how I customize my Gnome 47, how to compile certain extensions and whatnot. And I'm going to do my best to teach you how to compile extensions and get them up and working if they don't need anything major. But yeah, as far as this goes, we're pretty much done. We don't really need anything else except maybe, oh, I don't know. Yay, Arch Gaming Meta. Yeah, so this is the Arch Gaming Meta package. You thought I was done, please. So this is going to give you Steam. This is going to give you lutris. I'm basically just hitting enter and all the dependencies needed to bypass dependency hell, which, believe it or not, is still a real thing. It also gives you wine 9.18 and everything else. None of this is coming from any other repository or the AUR. It's grabbing everything from the extra and multilib repos. So they will automatically update with your normal system and you won't be conflicted in any way, okay? So you'll always have the newest stuff and you will not be in dependency hell, which is important. And, well, there we go. Now, we're going to do an optimization real quick. So to do this, we're going to zoom in, sudo gedit. No, actually, I'm going to teach you nano now. nano/etsy/pacman.conf. And password, you're going to go down, 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 all the way. Keep going. See parallels downloads? You're going to uncomment this. Now I have a ridiculously fast download speed, so I can set this thing to 20 if I wanted to. I recommend sticking to either 5 or 10. If you're in a VM, stick to 5. And Control S saves. Control X exits. So again, that allows you to have more than one download speed at a time. And again, it mentions a lot of stuff that you can currently grab if you need to, okay? Obtain from the chaotic UR, so on and so forth. So, what we can do is we can do sudo pacman-s bottles. You want to use bottles. You want cups for your printer, type cups. If you want dxvk-bin, you can do that. If you want Proton GE, don't install it like that. You're going to want possibly Proton Plus. And if you want to do any sharing of your files, you're going to want Samba. And Sane is already installed. I don't know if it's going to find any of that. It's probably not going to. But yeah, there's a lot of things that we can just do. Another thing is if it doesn't find it, you could do yay-s. And again, it didn't find everything. So we're going to do these one by one, okay? Ah, that's why it didn't do it. It was my bad. Bottles, cups, proton, plus Samba. Yeah, there we go. There's Proton Plus. We have bottles. Everything installed is done. So now when you click this, Proton Plus, this is where you end up grabbing everything you need for Steam. So installs Proton GE or any type of other thing that you need. And I like how it's clicking through the VM. Sorry about that. So here you go. There you go. That's the... I'm gonna just fix this because this is just hideous. I don't know why they do this by default. It's dumb. There's your Proton Plus. There's your lutris. And you also have bottles in here somewhere. So I could just fix this down here. You got your terminal ready to go. I'm gonna put that right there. And there are a few other things left we can do. We could do yay heroic game launcher. And we can grab that from the AUR as well. I'll zoom in so you know what's happening. See right there, heroic game launcher. Done. Yay bottles. And we're going to grab from the chaotic AUR on this one. And that's done. And now we have the final little thing going on here. There's your bottles and there's everything. There's your managed printing. Now, if your printer does not work, you could also go back to an LTS kernel. I have to explain this one because there's been a lot of issues lately with kernels not working. So you notice how it says LTS right here? Okay, that's an LTS kernel. That's a long-term kernel. That has better overall support for hardware, and then Arch also has an LTS kernel, but I recommend the Cachyos one because it comes with its optimizations. The chaotic UR has a bunch of other kernels as well. You can use Zanmod, you name it, it's there. Installing that should help you with better printer support, alright? Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share this video. I'm sorry that it's so long, but we had to go through everything possible to get it done. Part 2 of this video will basically be how I set up Gnome. And hopefully you guys will appreciate this video and, you know, hit the like button and all that stuff. I'm trying to minimize the darn thing and now it's not working. Because a lot of effort gets put into these videos, a lot of time gets put into them, and other editing and other ways. This is the end goal of what we want, or you'll probably want something different. Again, I'm just going to show you how to customize things to hell and back so that you can make your choices on what you want to do. I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm going to be honest with you, KDE is never going to look this clean. Okay? And that is the truth of things, because the way that they have designed their UX is just, it's never going to be a perfect rounded corner. It's always going to have weird little pixels. If you zoom in, you'll notice it right away. But yeah, when it comes to customization, Gnome is on a whole other level, and it's just way cleaner. And with OpenBar is way more extensive. Also, if you're new to Linux, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye, everybody.